Ah, there we go. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Alright, let's try that again. So as I said 20 seconds ago, and you couldn't hear me at all, it was going to be a bit more of a heavy lifting day, but that's not what I need today. So instead of doing weights, thought I'd come hang out on the Cadillac again. It's been a while since I did a full workout over here, so also, if you're watching this and it sounds a little weird or not like normal, please let me know. I changed the gains a little bit on the mic, and so we will see if that makes a difference. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but if you're having a hard time hearing me, let me know. I think it should be working pretty well at this point, but I'm gonna get started. All right. Whew. Again, this is the Cadillac, also known as the trap table. The roll down bar. I'm just going to use this to get warmed up. Get some articulation of the spine in there. Do this a few times. Just kind of been sitting a lot today. That's another reason why I wanted to do this instead. Wrap my arm around here. Come on through and stretch this out. One more time, except this time, cross my leg over. Try not to crush my own balls. There we go. Fix that. All right, and roll up. So blessed as a curse, as I heard. Well, finally cooled off a little bit here today. Of course, it's gonna be nice and hot and sweaty in here in a second, but oof, shit. There's a lot that we're gonna do with this. I actually really love playing around with these things. We're gonna come back to that later. And all this squeaky glory there. Right now, we're just like the leg circles or leg springs, and we're gonna start off with my body on the mat, but then I'm gonna start kind of literally lift it up a notch. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Of course, I did hop on the newer Cadillac, so these springs are really tight. It's gonna burn. That's all right. 2, 3. All right, let's slow down there. 4, 5, and reverse. Just kind of getting used to this tension of the springs here for a second. 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna basically do 5 of everything here. 4, 5, and reverse. 2, 3, 4, 5. Do walking 3 times and up. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that's not a lot of reps. Why are you doing that? Or why are you not doing that so much? Because we're going to come back. 2, 3, 4, 5. And some little leg circles here. 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So now we do something called a frog in a box, where we literally draw a box. Is that you, Mr. Ruffalo? Yes, how are you, man? All right, so now, frog in a box. Press up and out, hard down, and 2. Number 3. And now reverse. Number 2. One more, number 3. All right, so now that's where we start when we first start learning these exercises. Then, as we get stronger and we want to challenge ourselves or challenge our clients a little bit more, then we start going here. And the goal is to keep my hips as still as possible. 4, 5. Don't think I'm nailing that goal right now, but I'm working on it. 3, 4, 5. And then this gets even harder. 3, 4, 5, and reverse. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now, we walk the whole body down and up. Number 2. And up. One more. Number 3. Up. And 1, 2, 5. Separate 10 little leg circles. 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse. 3, 4, 5. Oh my God. All right. And now we go frog in a box with our hips up off the mat. Let's see how this works. So, 1, 2, 3, and reverse. 2, and 3. Whew. Man, that, so you can see, it's a very quick way to warm up. All right, now, we're not done with those yet. Let me grab 2 pieces of equipment. One I showed you the other night, the neck stretcher. And then this good old-fashioned paddle looking thing is called an airplane board. So one of the things that I love to do with this is what it was, one of the big things it was designed for, airplane. Take this here. Put my feet in these straps. What you're going to notice is that if I do it well, it's kind of like playing a game of operation. You remember that game where you try to operate the guy if you hit the sides? So as I go up here, I don't want to bang these bars at the top. The other thing about this is now my feet are in parallel as opposed to Pilates position. All right, so I'm going to press out. All the way up. Now, you can do this without an airplane board. You just do it with your feet in the straps, but it is not the same, and I do not get the same feedback. Number 3. And I'll reverse that. Through. And go down as low as I can without flopping. And if I have to, I would roll out, but I think I landed that one pretty well. Come back through. All the way up. Now, this exercise, you wouldn't know it to look at it from this angle, but it's absolutely working my feet as well. So there's a lot to be done with this, but what I personally use it for, airplane that is, the airplane board, is getting better at doing dragon flags, as they're called. So this is not a Pilates move. However, we can do this without the springs. And we also do a version of this on the reformer. Alright? So we go this way, which is a lot easier to do than, as you can see, I have to pike up to lift. I can't do that completely flat yet. And someday we'll get there. Alright, you get the idea. That's enough of that. Whew. Put these back on before I forget. Now, after I showed you guys the neck stretcher last week and all the exercise I did with that, felt really freaking good on my neck and my upper trap. So we will be doing that again today. But right now, we're doing arm springs. Very similar to leg springs, but for your arms. The big goal of anything we do in here, whether it's on the Cadillac or it's on the reformer, these springs are to resist or assist you, right? Your job, no matter what, is to control them. So what you don't ever want to hear is, right? So if you're in a class and you keep making that noise, the instructor will probably come and say something to you. 3. And we go to 8 on these, 4, 5, 6. And if you're curious about what we do if this starts getting easier, number 8, we slide down. And we can do this with our legs hanging all the way off, if we can control the springs. If we can't control the springs, then we back up a little bit. And if that gets easier, use these big fat leg springs if you want. Again, if you can control them. I use something, I got this from another Pilates instructor, called the cross. Really good for getting the back of those lats, or into your back and your lats. 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to switch. Now the other spring's on top. 2, 3, 4, oh wait, triceps. Tricep extensions. These are the ones generally people try to scoot back a little bit on. A little bit harder. 2, 3, there we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh man. The nice thing about doing this on your own is, excuse me, you can always play around with different things. So We do a version of chest expansion on the reformer. We do this kneeling on here as well. We do the exact same thing. Just working on getting taller. I always like to do this a little bit after I do that tricep extension. The other thing that I always think about when I do this stuff, you guys have watched me do this enough now to know that like I get really sweaty when I do this work. So I've never understood the appeal of doing Pilates in a hot room, like hot Pilates or hot yoga. Because I don't want to be in this room. It's 73 degrees now in here. So, you know, we all have our preferences, I guess. What the fuck is that? There we go. Alright. Try that again. So some of this stuff is a little all over the place because it's still kind of warming up. Generally, from what I understand, as I learned, this tends to be a bit more of an ending exercise, but I can throw it in whenever the fuck I want, so. The reason I'm throwing it in now, I'm going to use it to just gently warm up rotation. Here. First. Stretch. One more. First one. And that was a very terrible way to do that exercise there. I should not have jerked it. It should all come from your powerhouse. Right, there we go. I redeemed myself. Okay, but now this one is great for your shoulders. Or should I say, for opening up your shoulders. I mean, I don't think there's anything in here that I'm like, this exercise is bad for you. But this one, if you have bad shoulders, may not be a good one for you. Lift this up. You can see from this angle, it's kind of hard to keep those shoulders open with my hands like so, right? So I'm fighting that open here, and I'm doing this because it's a little bit more gentle on the shoulder joint. So since this feels really good, and the other thing I was worried about was my thumb from jamming the crap out of that on Wednesday. So now I'm going to carefully flip my hands over, and now it's a lot easier to keep the shoulders open, but it's a lot harder for me personally to not lock my elbows out. Yeah, that feels good. Whew. Yeah. One more. All right. So we got that. Now, mermaid. Oh, if it makes you feel better, you can call it a merman. Don't really care. One more. And now I'm going to turn my back to you. Come on. Stretch. my friend Daphne is watching, but I haven't heard from you in a while. I hope you're doing alright. Alright. Now, one of my favorites is called the Pilates cap. So I'm going to start. Anyway. Basically, I want this to be like an extension of my arm, right? The big goal here is not shifting the hips back. Down, slowly. And arch and stretch. Again, I don't want to shift the hips back, so I'm going to, for lack of a better term, tuck my head and tailbone at the same time. Let's see. One of the reasons why people tend to dismiss this work, because you cannot see how hard my core is working now just to articulate down and keep everything stable. Working the lats, right? So if I were to do this poorly, right? And if I were using no muscle, I could make it super like flowy and simple, and I can do it for the gram, right? Which there's nothing wrong with trying to build a gram and doing your own thing, but that was not work, right? For me, I should say. Not to discount anyone's exercise, but that felt nothing like the flowiness of it. But moving on. All right, we're gonna come back to this bad boy later. When we go through. But I'm not gonna lie to you. We're gonna start doing what I'm really excited for. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see something here. Wait. Yeah, it's very much like an ab roll in that sense, like rolling out, coming back in. You're not shifting those hips back, right? So it does feel something. Bring this mic over so we can get a little bit closer. So I want to see if it will pick up my back cracking, which it might. It might not though. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I changed the gain, so it might not pick it up at all. Who knows? But, alright. So this, the trapeze. This is how this thing got us in. It's the trap table. We do a lot with this. You saw me rolling up and down earlier. Loosen up the spine. So here, an exercise called breathing. Grab this. Inhale, articulate up through the hips. One vertebra at a time. Bring the bar and hold. 2, 3, and down. And I think you can see by the shaking, it's a lot of work. Number 2, hold. 2, 3. And one more, number 3. 2, 3. Now. Whew. I like to do that because it also feels really good. But now, for my next trick, it's called spine twist. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so my hand up here. I'm going to put one foot here in the middle. Bring this left knee to my chest. Stretch it up to the ceiling. Bend. Stretch. Oh, and God, that felt great. Let's see if we get a pop on the other side. No. Fine. That's fine. But I'm going to show you how we start blending a lot of these exercises, or how a lot of exercises that you learn. Sorry, the bar is right in front of you. There, now, I look like I'm trying to hide my identity. Now, how a lot of these exercises that we learn in the beginning, that we do, the exercise that we did at the beginning, when we first start learning the method, translate to more advanced exercises down the line. Now, keep in mind, I think this was invented in this particular piece of equipment was patented in the 50s, I believe. So a lot of these exercises have different names. Some of them are different from the original names. What I'm about to show you, I want you to know I didn't name it. Very poorly named spread eagle. But spread eagle will prepare you for other exercises like pull-ups that we're about to do. So spread eagle, put your feet here. It's a fantastic calf stretch, right? I'm going to show you how I first learned this exercise, right? So arms are 90 degrees, and you have to shoot the hips back, bend my knees to come down, extend those legs long, articulate through one vertebra at a time, then open the chest to stretch, and then come back in to return. Now, as I do this, here and down, this is going to help your hinge for weightlifting, and this is going to help your squat for weightlifting. Back out, all the way through. This will help your chest press and open your chest, and then pull back in. Now that, once you get really decent at doing that exercise, and you get stronger throughout your practice, we then do it hanging with our feet in here, right? So these are how we do Pilates pull-ups. I'm going to go through 3 sets. Also great, and never talked enough about how great this is for building grip strength as well, because the goal is to get through 3 sets without having to take a break. So, I think I talk about this probably way too much, but I am not using an opposable thumb grip on this. I'm going to be wrapping my thumb around my fingers here, like a good monkey. So that way, when my hand is on the bar, I can make sure and press down so that I'm pressing to that pressure point there and there to get the arms a little bit more involved. And sometimes I just say that again to stall. All right, here we go. Yeah, I don't think I hit my head on that. I'm going to jump up, put both feet in. So here, that hinge part of the back, right? And I'll come up, open, come back to a plank. 1, 2, 3, and hang. Number 2. 2, 3, and hang. Last set. Sometimes it's not a matter of grip strength. This is sweat. 2, 3. Whew. Thought I was going to lose it there for a second. Alright, so that's how we start off with pull-ups. Then we go into reverse pull-ups, which I love. Some people do, some people don't. Whew, come on. There we go. Alright. So I will never fully hang down on this because I don't want to get in that position. That put possibly too much pressure on my lower back. So When I lower myself down, I'll only lower myself to about 90 degrees in the elbow or eye level with this bar in front of me that you probably can't see from that angle. 2, 3, 4. Whew. And that, well, I don't want to do this too much stretches. I was going to do some stretches with this. You can do all sorts of things with this push through bar, but push through bar. This is the trapeze, like I said earlier. We'll get there. We'll get this terminology correct at one point. But one of the reasons why people sometimes don't necessarily like doing things on Cadillac, and this is what I've heard from other teachers, is the same issue that they have with the Wonder Chair, that there's not necessarily a flow to it, right? In classical Pilates, you have, on mat and reformer, you have a standard system, right? You have a beginner, intermediate, advanced. Sometimes people do different levels, 1 through 5, but that's more about how training programs break it down into different learning modules. But the end result is the same, is that the idea is to not swing, right? So the idea is to eliminate all momentum in that. The goal is to eliminate all the momentum and not use that to come back up. Now, I don't always do that well, but once we come down here, we don't want to rock back and forth. Here, let me show you. And also, to your point though, it is a bit easier than a regular pull because I'm not hanging straight up and down, right? So I'm not resisting gravity with my body weight in the same position, right? So if I'm straight up and down doing a pull up from here, it's going to be a lot harder than if I'm only have a small distance to go anywhere, right? Yeah. Let's see if I can do it better though. Let's see what happens here. All right. So I probably should have done more of a pause here. So that's why it's a practice, not perfection, right? But I don't want to sit there and say it is an easy exercise, because it is not. But I don't struggle with these pull-ups as much as I do. But also right now, my thumb's gone down quite a bit. Man, after like hyperextending, I don't know what exactly I did to it, but it's gone all the way up. Which, I mean, that's the connection, right? Up into there. But if I squeeze too much, it feels like almost like a tennis elbow kind of thing. So, which, you know, it's no fun for anyone, really. But, alright. So now, these are some of my favorites. Again, I did chest expansion sitting down. We also do it here with this bar. We also do, just kind of show you, this exercise to activate my lats, right? And we're going to, obviously when I do the next set, I'm going to have to face you, or not face you. But one of the things you're going to see me do every single time I come back to this exercise is I'm going to roll the shoulder back and down to kind of lock it back into place, right? And this way I'm activating the lat here. I'm going to press down, and as I come back up, you're going to see the shoulder is going to come forward, right? So every time I almost have to reset it down and trying to keep it back the whole time, but that does not always work. And 4, whew, there we go. Because if you ever do lat raises and you feel it in your deltoid or your trap, I'm going to show you how to fix that. And yes, they're 5s for demonstration purposes. Not that I go much higher if I was doing it as part of my workout. But a lot of times you'll see this in the gym for lat raises. But if you're here, out and down, you're going to get a lot more success in actually engaging and using that lat correctly. So it's there as opposed to here. I think you can see that difference. If not, I'll get closer. Whew, that's a bright light. All right, shoulders, not what we want, exactly what we want, right? And it's a lot easier for me to keep my lats engaged there than it is with the roll down bar. But you know, it's just one of life's great mysteries. But I do that, and I want my lats engaged, and I want the serratus because serratus lats. I want those working because when I do chest expansion, the name is the exercise, right? And we talk about the difference in breathing between personal training and Pilates all the time. When we breathe in here, we don't let the diaphragm drop, right? So when I inhale, I literally want my chest to go out, right? Here. I want the diaphragm to stay in, as opposed to, ooh, won't be a soccer player, right? So, as I'm here, I'm going to roll the shoulders back now like I just did for one arm pressing the bar down. I'm going to press, turn to the left, turn to the right, back to the center, and return. And here I may reset those shoulders every single time. Right? Here. As I've talked about before, with kettlebells or with the foot bar on the reformer, when I hold this, I want to feel like I'm trying to break pasta, right? Sorry, Italians. But break the spaghetti. Here, left, and back. Break. And by doing so, you get your triceps a lot more involved as well. Now from here, we go to thigh stretch. Hands back, and I'm trying to keep a straight line from my knee to the shoulders the entire time. See how do I do here? Not bad. This is a fantastic quad stretch. There we go, and now I can do rolling in and out. So again, the Pilates cat that I did earlier, not letting those hips shift back, that was prep for doing this with the bar. Roll down, drag the bar to my knees, drag it up my body, get my arms long, and return. Number 2. Woo. Number 3. And now we reverse, and we go back. Pull, drag it down the body, and around up. Surprisingly, there's a lot more work going on in my glutes as well. All right. I'm working on it. I'm working on the big chest here. All right, so we're gonna do a few more things, and we're gonna call it a night. I'm gonna move you around in just a second, because we get to do arm springs, which I never did, but this time we get to do standing. All right, let's take you guys on a little journey to the other side of the Cadillac here. The real question is, can I do this without knocking everything over? We shall see. Of course I can't. Yeah, let's get a close up on that nose there, man. That's exactly what we want. Okay. That thing's did pretty well. Bring it down just a little bit because here, will you see me from out here? Get that a little more. There we go. All right. So this is known as punching or boxing, right? Now, obviously, there's not a lot of hip movement that I'm going to be doing here. So, the goal, because it's Pilates, is to stabilize to the powerhouse, right? The heels are together, toes are apart, I'm extending them out and back. Now, again, we want to control and resist the spring. So what we don't want is we don't want the arm to just fly back. There's no control there. We're not bouncing into it either. Right? If you have to bounce into it, your springs are too heavy. And you should be provided smaller springs if your instructor, by your instructor if that's happening. I'll get these words out at some point. Whether they'll come out correctly, I don't know. I'm going to do one more on each side. I'm going to do it with both arms. Woo. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember the rotation I was telling you about earlier? So one of the things, you can see my feet are facing this way. And they're going to turn a little bit. This is one of my favorite exercises, and it's really hard, and I'm not great at it. And generally, things where I'm not great at, like most people don't do, but the goal is to keep my feet facing that way as much as possible, and turn and rotate this way, and press. 2, 3, 4, and see if I can rotate as much on the other side. Not so much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'll get there. I'll get there. But now, right, so arm circles. Do 3 in each direction. So I'm going to press out, bring the flip hands over, come down. A little different than the arm circles I did laying down on the ground, on the Cadillac. 3. And now we reverse. Circle, flip, and back. 1. Circle. 3. Yeah. Whew. Now, some of my other favorites. Start using this roll down bar. That just feels good. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. Yes, it is a big stretch for the calves as well. All right. Now, I have clients who wear glasses. I got these like a little over a year ago. I've never had glasses before. I still cannot get used to working out in glasses. And the one time I tried, I got nothing but sweat like all over the lens. I'm like, well, can't see shit when it's like that anyway, so. But now, I'm gonna do squats. So I brought this down here, right, and obviously we do a ton of squats in here. I do a ton of squats in here at least. And this is a little different than, I'm not going with a traditional squat stance, right? I'm gonna have my heels together, my toes apart, and my arms are gonna be up here. So the goal, come in, you're gonna lean back just a little bit to re-engage, not re-engage, but engage the abs a little bit more. Hinge, and come down. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. I think you can see the spring shaking. Number 5. That's just from keeping tension there the whole time. Whew. Now, no, glasses slide off your face, no bueno. You're absolutely right about that. That is not fun. But here's where I really got a lot of help and work with my pistol squat. So, I think if I'm remembering my certification manual correctly, it was just known as a single leg squat, right? Same idea. The arms go up. Now I'm here, I come down, and back, and switch, and up. Now, the interesting thing, I think this is interesting, that bar with the springs, in a lot of ways, acts like a counterweight. Like when you would do it without it, right? And you're here, and kind of use, if you can catch your balance, like I clearly can't for some reason. You're here, just kind of use this to go out, and then back, right? But, as you saw in that one, as I got lower, I had to round my back. And part of that, no matter what the counterweight is, to get that low, I do need to round my back. And I might be rounding my back a little bit here, but because I'm thinking about lengthening my spine, I'm not necessarily going to go quite as low and have to come into that position, right? At least that's not what I want to do in Pilates. So you're not going to go down quite as low, but it doesn't mean it's any easier. It just works a little bit different. You're still working your glute. You're still working your core. So same exercise, different feelings, different results. Well, not two different results, but you know what I mean. Definitely a different feeling. I do feel, using the counterweight, not using that spring, I get in my glute even more. This, I think with the bar, I do get the glute, but I still have more legs as well. Now, we can make that even more challenging by attaching the springs to the bottom. That's not what I want to use. I want to use arm springs for this. So take the arm springs, attach these down here. And now we have an entirely different squat all together. So come down, press up. So to an extent, it almost feels like you're adding a bicep curl in there. Two more. Whew. All right. That was nice. Now, before I go, you may be asking yourself, what the fuck do they use those fuzzy mufflers for? It's a good question. Glad you asked. One of the things And no, it's not sex before you even ask. Never mind. But we do like to hang upside down, right? So one of the things I talk a lot about extension of the spine, lengthening the spine, right? So we're going to use this as a way to lengthen the spine, and then add in a little more ab work right towards the end, which, you know what, that's just not going to look good. You're not going to be able to see that. But I think that's going to be a little bit better. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, and you're going to see me flip and hang upside down. There's a lot of different ways to get into these mufflers here. Personally, I like to do fingertip to elbow and then add an extra loop in here to shorten it. If I were shorter, I would just lay on my back and twist my leg around until it got tighter on my ankle. But here, because I know myself, all right. So I'm going to hang off of here, and the way I get up and come out of it is going to be like a final ab exercise to end on. The fear is not being able to get out of this, which has not happened yet in the past, I don't know, 12 years I've been doing this. But, you know, it was the first time for everything, I guess. So this is just half hanging. It's really nice to get some compression off the lumbar spine. But what's fun is when you do full hanging, and hang all the way off down here. And it's like an inversion table, right? Can you see me through here? Hello. As I'm back, I'm going to put my hands on the metal bar on the bottom and give myself a nice split stretch here. And then, and this is where you have to be careful, we can come through and stretch here. And when I say be careful, because we don't want these things to tip over. And come through here. And stretch. And then come off again. Making sure our ankles don't slip out. There's that one. And then to get out of this, we do a quick sit up. Then swing like a monkey. And then there are other times when you come down. Now some people flip over. Throw in some push-ups if you want. Yeah, a little too much there. Here. Or just slide your feet out the easy way. So, I know I'm only 5'8", but I really feel like after that I'm at least 5'8 and a half. Who knows? So, someday we'll have to see if it actually helps me get to almost 5'9". We'll see what happens. So, oh man, well, that was good. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you on Monday. I think I'll be here. So yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you on the weekend. No, after the weekend. Yeah, I'll see you after the weekend. Good night. Love you all.